When I leave, you give the card to Kenny, I'll do something with it. Thanks very much. Then he would go. I would get the cards. I would say to people, please, before you go, stay a few minutes. I said, I'm actually in charge of this. He's going to do it again in 2 more weeks. I can make changes to it. What would you recommend we do differently next time so that it's a better experience for the next group of 20 people? By and large, they said, I wouldn't change anything. I've never been in a meeting with an executive who actually shuts up and listens. It made me feel hopeful about our future. When I would get back to my office, I would give the cards to my secretary. She would type up these people's home addresses. Sent it up to the president. He sent a letter signed by him to each home. It said, Dear Mary, your name was recently brought to my attention as a person who represents what's best about Keyspan. It's because of people like you that make this company great. Please accept the enclosed gift certificate of $100 to our company's store as a small token of appreciation. If you'd like to know how your name got selected, contact Kenny Moore, who's responsible for awakening joy, meaning, and commitment in the workplace. I actually put that in his letter as a joke. Knowing that as an executive he would slash it up. He missed it. So I got a new job responsibility that they have no idea how to evaluate me on. The letters went out. A day or two later, I would get these phone calls. People would cry. I had a woman who said, I have worked in the company 35 years. I work in the call center. I'm a shy person. I just do my job. I got this letter from the president congratulating me. How did he get my name? I said, well, I really don't know. He's holding these meetings, and he's asking our employees to single out a person who they think represents a person who's best about Keyspan, and somebody thought of you. I said, I don't know what you're doing, but keep it up. Another guy said, I came home from work, and my wife had a letter in her hand. She said, Joe, it's from the company. I think they caught up with you. He says, I opened it up, and it was a letter from the president, thanking me for doing something, I don't know what. He says, I got it framed, it's hanging in my kitchen. Another interesting thing, and it usually surfaced in this part of the conversation, we would hear horror stories, terrible things about the shadow side of organizational life that we in HR get exposed to regularly. I remember one woman, black woman from Brooklyn, talked about what it's like to be a woman of color in a white-driven, white-dominated engineering department. She said, you know what that's like? And how you feel about your future and about your career opportunities? Another gentleman said, I work in the meter repair area. He says, I've been doing this job my whole career. He says, I know that works inside out. They re-engineered meters, and they asked us to write down our suggestions for improving the operation. He says, I spent my whole weekend writing stuff down. I gave it in, they never even read it. He said, since that time, I haven't given this friggin' company one suggestion since. The president said, when did this happen? He said, 10 years ago. Another lady who was one of the foundresses of our Meals on Wheels program. You familiar with that stuff? You go during lunch. Her sister died. We're out in New York City. Her sister died in North Carolina. She had to go down, settle the estate. She was the only one left. Get the will, bury her. She told her boss, I'm going to be gone probably for 2 weeks. She told her friend Louise, tell Joe at Meals on Wheels I'm not going to be here. Louise forgets. She comes back. Joe kicks her off of Meals on Wheels. She says, but my sister died. I told Louise to tell you. She forgot. She says, I don't give a friggin'. She says, you know what tells me? I got all these scheduling problems because of you. You're out of here. We are terrible stuff. Now, actually, some of the people who perpetuated this, we actually had fired years ago. And the president would say, you know, we've got training programs in place. We're trying to become more sensitive to diversity. We have actions and goals. And as I was sitting with him afterwards, I said, you know, there's a need for somebody here to apologize to to say sorry. I said, yeah, I can do it. I work in HR. But you're the president. You represent the company. And so we crafted some words, like, as we continue to hold these meetings, because this went on for like 3 years. And we'd hear these terrible things. He would listen, and he would say, that's terrible. And it shouldn't have been done to you. And that's in violation of our corporate policies. And on behalf of Keyspan, I apologize. No one had ever apologized to these people. And for many of them, it was the first time anybody ever said sorry. And what they came to realize is that the company is very much just like their family. You know? Steps on your toes, overreaches its bounds, takes advantage of you, but unlike their family who apologized, nobody ever apologized. And there was something in the room that shifted when he said that. And for some of these people, it actually created some form of organizational healing. And I know that because most of my work is with our employees. And these are the same employees that continue to show up in the meeting and bitch and moan about the same old stuff. They stopped bitching. They were able to move on. There was a wound that was healed. So that's the meaning behind the story. Before we go into the third half of the program, this might be a good time to take questions, comments, observations. I invite you to ask questions. The only thing you have to lose is the respect of your peers. Kenny's trying to grab all this time. I'm not going to go to you first. You're already up here and you got a card. Yes, you are. Kim.
Did we apologize during the session or in a letter to the whole company? How did that
He did it in the session. Yes. For the people that were there. Actually, to the person who brought it up.
So that was the only thing he's allowed to say?
Yes, I gave, as a good priest, I give some latitude. You know, but, right. Other questions? Yes?
Out of curiosity, what role were you in at the time you approached the president with this idea of friendly things with people? And what was your relationship like with him leading up there?
This is one of the most bizarre experiences I've had. I left the monastery. I came back to live in a one-bedroom apartment with my widowed mother in New York City, which was actually worse than the monastery. I said, I need a friggin' job. I need money. I got to get out of this place. I interviewed. The head of HR said to me, you used to be a priest? I said, yes. He says, well, if you were able to deal with the politics of the Catholic Church, you'll have no problem with corporate America. I'll hire you. So he hired me. And I implemented, designed, and put in our first performance appraisal program. I got promoted. I met a lovely woman in accounting, fell in love, and then I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. I went to my boss. I said, I got cancer, I got it bad, and every week I'm going to be flying down to Washington for treatment. They told me some days I might be able to come back to work, some days I may not. Actually, there were days I couldn't even button my shirt. He said, we like you. We'll cover for you. Go get yourself healed. I think that's the day I fell in love with the company. So I came back. It was bad enough I had a monastery as a preparation for my business career. Now I had a near-death experience. I was newly married, too. I just got married. I said, if I could be dead tomorrow, you think I'm staying here after 5 o'clock? I'm going home. And I gave up trying to climb the corporate ladder. I still needed a job because I needed benefits, needed money. So I said, well, maybe I could be more myself. Maybe I could increase my sense of humor, take more risks. What do you got to lose? Not qualities that you would think would catch the attention of the CEO. But one night, I was sitting home yelling at the boys, and the phone rings, and it was HR. They said, how would you like to be we would like you to be the corporate ombudsman, and you report directly to the chairman. I said, I really don't get along well with people in authority. And besides,